I was at work, buried in client files, when two policemen walked into my office. Mr. Walker? Yes? Your wife, Madison, is in the hospital. My stomach dropped. What happened? The taller one didn't blink. She was brought in by a man. He claimed to be her partner. That word, partner, slammed into me harder than any punch I'd ever taken. Partner? Wait, I said, standing. You mean, she was with someone? The officer nodded slowly. He said they were out together. Didn't leave his name. Dropped her off and disappeared. My mouth was dry. My chest was burning. That was the moment. That exact second. The moment I knew everything in my life was about to change. I rushed to the hospital. Every red light felt like a personal attack. My brain couldn't focus. I was picturing her bloody, broken, unconscious. But I was also picturing her laughing in some other man's arms. Whispering things in his ear she used to whisper to me. I got there in 22 minutes. Mercy General ER. I gave her name, and a nurse led me down a hallway with that same gentle pity in her voice nurses use when they know something you don't. She's okay, she said softly. Your wife was brought in with minor injuries. Dislocated wrists, some bruises. Her friend said she tripped on the sidewalk after drinks. Friend. I clenched my fists. Then the nurse said it. We'll call her partner back after we finish the scan. My jaw tensed. Her what? Her partner. The man who brought her in. I didn't reply. I just walked through the curtain she pointed at. And there she was. Madison. My wife. Sitting upright on the ER bed. Scrolling through her phone. Lipstick perfect. Hair still curled. Her wrist had a temporary splint, but other than that, she looked fine. No real pain. No concern. No shame. Her eyes widened when she saw me. Jason? What the hell are you doing here? I stared at her. 2 cops showed up at my job. Said you were hospitalized. Said a man brought you in. He said you were together. She blinked. Oh my God, Jason. It's not what it sounds like. Then explain it to me. I went out with a friend, I tripped. He helped me. That's it. The nurse from earlier popped her head in. We'll try calling your boyfriend again in 10 minutes. He left his number at the desk. Madison froze. I laughed. Laughed, that painful, gut-twisting kind of laugh. Your boyfriend, huh? Don't start, she snapped. I didn't ask you to come. You always overreact. That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just attitude. Disrespect. Like I was the inconvenience. You're lying, I said calmly. You've been lying for months. And you're so damn deep in it, you don't even care anymore. She rolled her eyes. Jason. Stop being dramatic. We were just hanging out. It was nothing. Hanging out. With a man. Who brought her to the hospital. Who left his number as her boyfriend. I turned around and walked out. Didn't say another word. But my mind was racing. Who was he? How long had it been going on? I knew now, without question, this wasn't just some accident. This was the surface of something much darker. And I was going to dig deep until I found it all. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I drove. No destination. Just my thoughts, and fury, in the driver's seat. Her friend. Her partner. That smug, dismissive look on her face at the hospital, like I was overreacting. Like she was the victim here. I couldn't shake that image. Madison sitting there with perfect makeup, on her phone, no remorse. Just arrogance. By the time I pulled into a 24-hour diner at 1:17 a.m., I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't even going to cry. I was going to find out everything. First, I texted my buddy Marcus, my lawyer friend. Need to talk ASAP. Personal. No questions. Tomorrow morning. He replied in 30 seconds. Come by at 9. Then I opened a new notes app on my phone. At the top, I wrote one word in all caps. Truth. Underneath, I listed every lie Madison had told over the last 3 months that suddenly made perfect sense. Girls' night. Every Thursday, but no photos, no tags. She changed her lock screen password. Spent $300 at a hotel bar, claimed it was a bridal shower. Claimed she was working late, but her office lights were off when I drove by once. Deleted her call history multiple times. Started sleeping with her phone under her pillow. Suddenly going to the gym at 6 a.m. daily, in full makeup? I stared at the list. Every bullet point screamed the same thing: you were blind, Jason. But not anymore. At 9 sharp, I walked into Marcus's office. No handshake, no coffee. Just facts. She's cheating, I said, dropping into the chair across from his desk. I need to know what I can do legally. I want options. Divorce, investigation, evidence, whatever. Marcus leaned back and nodded. You have proof? Not yet. But I will. Then start gathering it. Bank records, location history, credit card charges. Get a PI if you want. The more you have, the better the leverage. That was all I needed. Next I drove home, quiet, slow. My heart wasn't racing anymore. I was focused. Cold. Controlled. Madison was there. Of course she was. Sitting on the couch, wine in hand, watching some trashy reality show. Like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't been in the ER with another man the night before. You're back, she said, like she cared. I didn't reply. Where were you? She asked, her voice sugary but fake. I looked her in the eyes. Out. Thinking. She scoffed. You can't keep acting like this. It's exhausting. You're being paranoid. Am I? I said calmly. Then let's make it simple. Open your phone. Show me your texts. She blinked. What? Show me your phone. She stood up fast. You're insane. You're cheating. She slapped the wine glass on the table. So what if I was, Jason? Huh? What would you do about it? Cry? Whine? Go to your lawyer friend and cry some more? There it was. The first crack in the mask. The venom. The real Madison. I'm not crying, I said, stepping closer. I'm building a case. She froze. Keep lying. Keep hiding. Just know, it's already over. I'm just collecting the receipts now. She didn't reply. She just stood there, watching me, unsure whether to scream or back off. But for the first time, I had the power. I walked past her, went to the bedroom, and started packing a bag. Not leaving for good, not yet. But enough to make a statement. And while I packed, I smiled to myself. Because if she thought this was the end, she had no idea what was coming next. The next morning, I was out of the house by 6:15 a.m. Madison was still asleep, or at least pretending to be. I didn't care. I wasn't there to talk. I was there to act. Step 1. Trace her digital footprint. At Marcus's advice, I pulled up our shared bank account on my laptop. She hadn't realized I still had full access, probably thought I wouldn't bother checking. But I did, and what I found made my blood boil. Every Saturday for the last month, there were Uber charges starting from our home and ending at the same upscale bar in Midtown. Then, a few hours later, another charge, same location, different time, ending at a boutique hotel just 5 blocks away. Hotel Royal Crest. $249.99. Repeated weekly. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. I called the hotel, pretending to be her assistant. Hey! I'm just checking. Madison Walker had a reservation last Saturday under her name. I'm trying to confirm something for her tax records. The woman on the line didn't even hesitate. Yes, she stayed with us in room 214. One night. She checked out Sunday morning. That was all I needed. So I drove there. I don't know what I was expecting, maybe to see him, maybe to feel something. But mostly, I wanted to look this betrayal in the face. I stood in the lobby, staring at the elevator she probably took with him. The couch where she may have waited. The front desk where she probably smiled and gave her name like she wasn't even married. I pulled out my phone. Took photos of everything. The hotel name. The entrance. Even a copy of the receipt from my email inbox. Proof. Back in the car, I took it a step further. I messaged my cousin Nathan, a guy who used to work in IT security and owed me more than one favor. Need to run a number for me. Quietly. I gave him Madison's phone number and asked for recent contact logs, call history, text patterns, maybe even GPS pings if he could swing it. 1 hour later, he texted back. She's been calling a guy named Chad Dalton almost daily. Calls are long. Texts constant. His number shows up the most. I searched him on Instagram. Public profile. There he was, Chad, some mid-30s gym rat with motivational quotes in every post and a body built for attention. Every picture was shirtless, protein shake in hand, sunglasses indoors. He looked like the walking definition of a walking red flag. And then I saw her. Madison. Liking every photo. Leaving comments like, and, love this energy, on pictures of him doing bench presses. Bow rose in my throat. I scrolled back and found a post from 2 months ago, Chad at a lounge bar. Booth, drinks, mood lighting. Sitting next to a woman, mostly hidden behind his arm. But her wrist, that same gold bracelet I gave Madison last Christmas. It was her. I was looking at a picture of my wife cozying up to this clown while I was probably at home doing the laundry and wondering why she was working late. And still, I wasn't done. That night, while Madison was in the shower, I snuck into her office drawer, the one she thought I never touched. Inside was an old phone, probably her backup from before she switched. No passcode. I turned it on, opened the gallery. Hundreds of photos. Madison. Chad. In bed. At the gym. Hotel mirrors. And videos, shaky, low-res, and intimate enough to leave no doubts. I watched for 5 seconds and closed it. That was enough. I'd found him. I'd found them. And now I knew exactly who I was dealing with. But I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to confront her just yet. I was going to set a trap. And when it snapped shut, they'd both feel it. By now, I had everything I needed. The hotel records. The photos. The texts. The videos. Madison had left behind a trail so sloppy a blind man could have followed it. And I wasn't even angry anymore. I was focused. You see, that's the part no one tells you about betrayal. It sharpens you. Once the emotions burn off, what's left is cold clarity. I didn't want a confrontation. I didn't want screaming, or some teary-eyed confession where she didn't mean to hurt me. No. I wanted control. Precision. I wanted Madison to feel the weight of what she'd done, not just for one night, but for the rest of her self-absorbed life. So I started laying traps. First, I pretended nothing was wrong. That Monday morning, I brought her coffee in bed. Thought you could use a pick-me-up, I said. She blinked, caught off guard, but smiled anyway. You're sweet, she said, sipping it. She had no idea. I let her think everything was fine. I didn't flinch when she mentioned another late dinner with clients. I even kissed her on the cheek before she left the house. But the moment the door clicked shut, I got to work. Step 1, legal protection. I met with Marcus again. Told him I wanted everything airtight. Divorce proceedings ready to launch the second I gave the word. We drew up papers, outlined her infidelity, linked it to financial misconduct, and started tracking our joint assets. Step 2, financial separation. I quietly moved most of my liquid funds into a private account under my name only. I wasn't leaving her with a cent more than she deserved. She could keep her lies. I'd keep the house. Step 3, the reveal. I needed the right moment. Not just some random night in the kitchen. I wanted the curtain to drop with full dramatic effect. So I staged it. I invited a few close friends over for dinner. Madison always loved hosting, loved playing the perfect wife. I made sure the guest list included people who mattered: my cousin David, a cop, my old boss, who adored Madison, and Marcus, pretending to just be stopping by. I told everyone nothing, just said it was a little get-together. Madison wore her favorite red dress. She made a salmon tartare and poured expensive wine. She laughed and touched my arm like we were still that picture-perfect couple. She had no idea the noose was tightening. And then, while everyone was laughing around the table, I said, Hey babe, do you mind grabbing your old phone from your desk? The one you used last year? She blinked. Why? Just want to show Marcus that funny video of us at the beach. It's on there. Her smile twitched. It's probably dead. I haven't used it in ages. Let's plug it in then, I said, rising. I'll help. Her eyes darted around the room. People watching. She was trapped. I think I sold it. No, you didn't, I said calmly, producing the phone from my pocket. You just hid it. Silence. Marcus put his wine down. David raised an eyebrow. I unlocked the phone and tapped. Photos. Turned it to face the table. And pressed play. The first video loaded, her and Chad. In bed. Laughing. Half-dressed. Kissing. Too intimate to deny. No one said a word. Madison froze. My boss set his fork down slowly. David leaned back in his chair. Marcus just muttered, "Well, damn." I looked Madison straight in the eye. "Game's over." She tried to speak. "Jason, please, it's not." I stood. "Don't. Just don't." Then I turned to everyone. "Dinner's over. Thank you all for coming." No one argued. And as I walked out of the room, I saw her. Standing there in her perfect red dress, makeup flawless, but face completely shattered. Finally. The morning after the dinner, the house was silent. Not peaceful, just eerily still, like the air had been sucked out and replaced with tension. I was in the kitchen, calmly sipping black coffee, when Madison appeared. No makeup. No dress. Just a loose hoodie and swollen eyes. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "Jason, we need to talk." I didn't look up. "Talk about what? The weather? Or how long you've been screwing Chad?" She flinched like I slapped her. I never meant for it to go that far. I finally met her gaze. "You disrespected me. Lied to my face. Brought him into my bed, into my life. And you only want to talk now because your little fantasy blew up in front of an audience." Tears welled up, but I wasn't buying it. Madison didn't cry for the pain she caused. She cried for the consequences. "I can explain." "No." I cut her off, standing up and walking past her. "You justified it to yourself. Repeated it enough times until the cheating felt like freedom. But now that freedom has a price." She followed me into the hallway. "Please don't make this worse." "Worse? I was going to divorce you quietly. Let you walk away with dignity. But now?" I turned to her, voice like ice. "Now I'm making sure everyone sees you for what you really are." The fallout started that afternoon. I sent a message to every mutual friend who ever defended her. No lies, no exaggeration, just the truth. Screenshots of her texts. The hotel receipts. One carefully selected photo of her and Chad, with a simple caption. "This is who Madison Walker really is." I didn't even have to send it to Chad's gym. One of our mutuals did it for me. Within 12 hours he was dropped from a brand sponsorship he'd bragged about for weeks. Turns out companies don't like being associated with scandal when it goes viral locally. But the best part? The HOA committee group chat. Madison always loved playing suburban queen bee, managing neighborhood socials, judging everyone's lawns like her opinion mattered. So I dropped one more message there. "Before you invite Madison to host another charity event, you might want to ask her about her partner at the Royal Crest Hotel. Saturdays. Room 214. Check the receipts." The silence after that message? Golden. She stormed into the living room, red-faced and fuming. "You're ruining my life." I didn't even look at her. "No, Madison. You ruined your life. I'm just making sure you don't rewrite the story." She tried to fight back. Said I was being cruel, vindictive, small. But nothing she said could touch me anymore. Her insults bounced off like foam bullets. Because now she was the one drowning, and I was the one standing on dry ground. The next move? Legal. Marcus filed the divorce papers that same week. Irrefutable infidelity, financial misconduct, emotional damage. The evidence folder was thick. My case was airtight. And yet, she still had the nerve to beg. 3 nights later, I found her crying in the kitchen at 2 a.m. I made a mistake, she sobbed. I didn't think it would go this far. I leaned against the doorframe. You didn't think at all. That's the problem. She came closer. Can we try to fix this? Please? I stared at her, this woman who once promised me forever, now crumbling over the ashes she lit herself. No, I said calmly. You had your chance. Now it's my turn. I turned off the kitchen light and walked away, leaving her in the dark, just like she left me for months. After that night, I made a rule for myself: no more conversations. No more tears. No more fake apologies. I was done giving her space in my head. She moved like a ghost around the house, trying to make eye contact, trying to start small talk like we were roommates who just had a bad fight. But I was ice. I didn't shout, didn't argue. I just stopped acknowledging her existence. Madison hated that more than anything. She wanted a scene. She wanted the drama, the begging, the blow-up that would let her play the victim. But I wasn't giving her that luxury. She had already robbed me of enough: my trust, my peace, my time. I wasn't letting her steal one more second. I spoke to her only once that week, on the phone, through my lawyer. Jason has decided to retain full control of the house. He's prepared to offer a buyout for your car and personal items, provided you vacate within 10 business days. Marcus didn't flinch when she screamed through the receiver. He simply said, "You should have thought of that before you filmed yourself with another man." That was it. 10 days. In those 10 days, I didn't say her name. Didn't respond when she hovered at the bedroom door. Didn't look up when she tried to, accidentally, drop her phone near me. And it drove her insane. One night, I came home late after grabbing drinks with a couple of friends, real ones, who actually gave a damn about me. Madison was sitting on the couch in the dark, waiting like some cheap horror movie cliché. "Jason, I'm scared," she whispered. "Of what?" I asked flatly, not even slowing my step. "Of losing you." I chuckled bitterly. "You didn't lose me. You threw me away." She lunged up, grabbing my arm. "Please don't do this." I blocked Chad. I deleted everything. It was a mistake. I was stupid. "No," I said. "You were calculated. You planned every lie, every night out, every hotel stay. This wasn't one mistake, it was a double life." Tears spilled again, but I was numb to them. I pulled my arm free and walked upstairs, locking the door behind me. That lock wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. She wasn't my wife anymore. She was just a selfish stranger who wore her ring like a costume. A few days later, I watched from the upstairs window as she loaded the last box into her trunk. She stood in the driveway for 10 minutes, staring at the house. I didn't wave. I didn't come down. I watched her pull away like she was just another delivery truck in traffic. No meaning, no purpose, no future here. And the silence that followed? It was healing. I changed the locks. Burned the bedsheets. Hired a cleaning crew to scrub the stench of her lies out of every room. And for the first time in months, I slept soundly. Not because I wasn't hurting, but because I was finally free. People started reaching out. "Man, we had no idea she was like that. Jason, you deserve better. I'm sorry." Even her own sister messaged me. "I warned her she'd lose you. She never listens. I'm glad you're done." Funny how people's true colors only come out when the curtains fall. But mine? I wasn't bitter. I wasn't broken. I was rebuilding. Quietly. Strongly. Without her. And the best part? She knew it. It had been 2 weeks since Madison drove away from the house for good. I was finally getting used to the quiet. No fake laughs, no slammed doors, no perfume lingering in the hallways after midnight outings she never explained. My mornings were peaceful, my nights no longer filled with anxious questions. I was healing. Then she showed up again. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was on the back patio, grilling, music playing low, beer in hand. The kind of weekend I used to dream about when I was living in the chaos she created. That's when I heard the knock. I opened the door, and there she stood, Madison. Dressed up like it was a first date. Tight jeans, low-cut blouse, hair curled just right. A desperate smirk behind her fake lashes. "I thought maybe we could talk," she said, voice dripping with pretend softness. I didn't budge. About what? She blinked. Us. Everything. I've been thinking. Thinking? I cut in. That's new for you. She winced, clearly not expecting the sarcasm. I've changed, Jason. 2 weeks and you've had a revelation? She stepped forward, uninvited. I miss us. I miss what we had. I've made mistakes, I know. But I love you. That never changed. I almost laughed. You cheated. Lied. Manipulated. For months. And now, just because your little boy toy disappeared and people stopped inviting you to wine nights, you remember you love me? I was lost, she said, voice cracking. You don't understand what I was going through. No, I said coldly. But you know what I was going through? Sleepless nights. Gut instincts I ignored. The humiliation of watching your double life collapse in my living room while our friends sat around the dinner table in shock. That's what I went through. She took another step forward. Let me make it right. I shook my head. You don't get to rewrite this. Then she dropped her last card. I'm pregnant. Silence. I looked at her, eyes locked. Say that again? Her voice trembled now. I found out last week. I didn't want to tell you until I was sure. I said nothing. She continued. I know you don't believe me. I know what you're thinking. But it's yours, Jason. I swear to God. I stared for a moment, then stepped back. DNA test. Court approved. If it's mine, I'll take responsibility. But don't think for 1 second that changes anything between us. Her mouth opened slightly, the performance cracking. You think this is a lifeline? I said. You think throwing a baby into the mess you created earns you a reset? Tears started falling now, maybe real, maybe not. I didn't care anymore. She whispered. You used to be gentle. Yeah, I said. And you used to be loyal. The silence between us stretched, heavy with truth. Then I turned, walked back to the grill, and shut the door behind me. She didn't knock again. Later that evening, Marcus called. She reached out to my office, he said. Wants to discuss property mediation. Seems like she finally accepted you're not playing games. Good, I said. Let's finalize this. I hung up and leaned back in my chair. The air smelled like grilled steak and freedom. I looked out across the yard, the same yard where we once talked about raising kids, building a life. That life was gone. But I wasn't. She lost the right to be part of my story the second she handed herself to another man behind my back. Now the only chapter left was closure. 3 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. No courtroom drama. No tears. No desperate last-minute pleas. Just 2 signatures, a judge's stamp, and a silence that said more than any words ever could. She didn't look at me once while we signed. I didn't either. It was already over long before the ink hit the paper. Now it was just official. Madison got her car, a small payout, and some personal items. I got everything else, the house, the freedom, and the satisfaction of walking away with my dignity intact. No guilt. No second-guessing. No regrets. Funny thing is, I thought the day of the divorce would hurt. I thought I'd feel some empty ache in my chest. But I didn't. I felt peace. Pure, unfiltered peace. I walked out of that courthouse lighter than I'd felt in years. As if the weight of every lie, every fake smile, every half-truth she whispered into my ear had been peeled off my back. Madison tried texting me later that night. Just one word. Sorry. I didn't respond. I blocked her number. Blocked her email. Blocked her on every platform. She had become nothing more than a cautionary tale, a lesson paid for in time and trust. And here's the thing. It wasn't about revenge anymore. I wasn't trying to hurt her. Hurting her would have meant I still cared. But I didn't. What I cared about now was me. I started running again. Not just down the street, really running. Breathing in air like it had meaning. Music in my ears. Sweat dripping like old memories. I signed up for a half marathon just because I could. I fixed the house. Repainted the walls. Burned the bed we once shared. Replaced the photos. Changed the locks. And every time I drove past that hotel where she used to sneak off to meet Chad, I didn't clench my fists anymore. I smirked. Because I won. Not in the petty way people talk about winning after a breakup. I don't mean I beat her. I mean I escaped her. I climbed out of the emotional sinkhole she created and didn't just survive, I leveled up. Chad? He messaged me once. Said he didn't know she was married. Begged me not to make this personal. I didn't even bother replying. Let him deal with his karma. It always arrives on schedule. And Madison? Last I heard, she moved back in with her mom. Couldn't afford rent. Most of her so-called friends dropped her after the truth came out. That perfect Instagram life she crafted crumbled overnight. But that's her journey now. Mine? Mine is finally real. I sleep easy. I laugh louder. I trust deeper, not because I forgot what happened, but because I survived it. People ask if I'll ever love again. I say, maybe. But next time, I'll move slower. Listen sharper. Guard my peace like it's sacred. Because it is. To every man reading this, or watching this video, who's been lied to, cheated on, broken. You don't have to stay in pain. You don't have to accept the bare minimum. And you sure as hell don't have to beg for someone who treats your loyalty like garbage. Walk away. And when you do, don't just leave, rebuild. Smarter. Stronger. Sharper. Because in the end, healing isn't about getting even. It's about getting better.